Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. This is my second video I'm making today. I'm sitting at my desk. I was just having a nice read through my Samurai Showdown book that's uploading as we speak. And I thought I'll go through some of the other books I've read in the last month or so. I've read some really good books in May. So I thought, I did say at the start, I think my very first video, that my channel was going to be mainly video games that I enjoy playing, things I'm passionate about. Movies, I haven't done much with movies yet, but I also said I was going to do books. I've always got a book on the go. Sometimes, or most of the time now, I've got two books on the go. I've got, might be reading a manga and a novel. I've always got a book in work. You'll see one of my books is really tatty. It's quite dirty because I didn't realise how dirty my fucking work bag was. I'm ruining my books, really. I have to put them in a carrier bag or something. Yeah, so as you can see, I've read 4 books in the last month or so. I think I've read some more, but I can't find them. Yeah, so I thought we'll go through, and I recommend every single one of these books, you know. So first book I read was Stephen King, The Outsider. This is one of his newer books. I think this book I actually bought for Mother's Day or something like that, or maybe Father's Day. I do buy my mother stuff on Father's Day sometimes as well, because my father wasn't really bothered that much, let's say. So, yeah, this book, yeah, definitely recommend it. It gets dark, it takes a dark turn, but like in a nutshell, it's quite hard to say what the book's about without giving away the story, but it starts off basically, there's set in America in a sleepy town where this baseball coach is arrested during a game, and he's a really good baseball coach. I think he's a school teacher, if I remember right. I can't remember what his actual job is, but he's very good at coaching baseball. He's like any small town, any sporting figure, is well known. He's well respected, and there's this big game going on with these kids playing like some playoff game or something, and the police march onto the fucking baseball field and arrest him in front of everyone. You know, the home fans, the away fans, and everything like that. There's a bit of a twist, but one of the arresting police officers knows him because he used to coach his son baseball. And he wouldn't only coach them, he'd like develop their characters, like a lot of sporting people. A lot of ways you can get through to young children is through sport. And so they arrest him, and he's like, what the hell's going on? Acting all innocent and stuff like that. A crime had been committed, a gruesome crime, where, I won't go into it, but it's involving a young boy. He was murdered, and brutally murdered, right? Some disgusting things happened to him. It is a Stephen King book at the end of the day, right? I don't recommend this if you're squeamish. Maybe stay away from this one. But what do you expect with the awesome Stephen King, you know? Yeah, but there's witnesses, not of the actual crime, but there's witnesses. Like half the town saw this coach because he's well known. Loads of people would say hello to him and stuff like that, because he's coached pretty much every male kid in the fucking town, you know. He's like covered in blood, acting suspiciously. You know, he wasn't trying to cover up the fact that he was covered in blood. Yes, there's an overwhelming amount of witnesses. So basically the police are like, yeah, it must be him. Arrest him straight away, so he, not that he can get away with it, so he doesn't do it to any other children. Yeah, okay, so you're on the police's side at the start of it. But then a couple of chapters later, the twist is this coach, he went to a book signing or like a book reading club thing, like hundreds of miles away or like thousands of miles away. And it was televised, and he was actually at the end of this, the event. They were taking questions from the audience, and he was in the audience, and he asked the question, so the camera went on him. So it was like, hang on, it's impossible that he could have committed this crime because he wasn't there, and they double checked, was it actually him? Then they interviewed the people because he went down with a group of people. They're like, yeah, he was with us. So then again, it does take like the paranormal activity side kicks in then, but it's as you're reading it, you think, fuck, where's this story going? You know, there are some sad parts in it, but yeah, definitely recommend it. But a warning, it's not for everyone if you're a little bit squeamish, you know. So yeah, really good book. It's quite a big book. It's got, what are we looking at, about 500 pages. You know, I used to have a problem with reading. With my diagnosis with my OCD, I had to read at least 30 pages every night. But then with my treatment and my counselling that I've had, I'm able to stamp that out, and I'm much, much more enjoying my books. I fall in love with reading again. Because sometimes, you know, when you're reading before you go to bed, you're like, I'm just literally counting, right, I'm on page 30, I've got to get to page 60. And because I'm like, my nodding off, I'm not really paying attention. So some nights I'll read a page. And if I'm that tired, I'll go to sleep and I'll sleep fine. But yeah, really I've rediscovered my love of reading. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that book. We'll stay with another novel then. Now, I'm a big believer, right, in, I'll put the book here. I'm a big believer in, my mother believes this as well. They say don't judge a book by its cover. I do. I gotta be honest. Sometimes a cover will just jump out, and my instincts haven't let me down once. I gotta be honest. Every book I think, I'll take a risk on that. You know, I say the cover, I mean, reading this and reading the back. That's what I mean by the cover, right? So I do judge a book by its cover. Sometimes a book, like when I used to work in the postal industry, let's say, like if there's a box and there's a tear in the box and the book falls out, I'll pick the book up and I'll have a look and go, yeah, this sounds really good. So in my head, the way my brain works, that book's found me, and I'll take a screenshot of the book, then I'll go and buy it on Amazon later that night, right? But then, so before I get into this book, a classic example of judging a book by its cover is this book here. I never heard of this book, but I was working in Amazon as a packer for one Christmas, and I was packing this book. It's what a boring job. And I was working nights the first year I worked there, right? Jesus Christ. The hardest part, it's an easy job, but the hardest part is keeping your eyes open. Pack, next. You literally, it's not an exciting job, but this book came off the line. I thought, okay, I don't know what it was, something about it. I thought, this sounds good. So I just flicked it over, and it basically says, suffering from depression but desperate for normality, Rachel Cullens, who's the author of the book, found herself in failing relationships, the wrong career, and relying on alcohol and chocolate to get her through each day. Stuck in a cycle of mental misery, she put on a pair of old trainers, right? Boom. At the time, my alcohol addiction was at its worst, and I just needed a distraction. I was gaming, alcohol, I have touched on it before, but this book found me at the right time. It came along into my life at the perfect time. Went home, before I even went to bed, I'm knackered. I used to cycle to work, it was 11 miles. So imagine like cycling 11 miles, doing a 10.5 hour night shift, then fucking cycling home. I think it pissed down with rain as well, so I'm soaking wet. So all you want to do is just have some food and jump into bed. As soon as I went in, iPad is out on Amazon. Boom, where's this book? Ordered it straight away. Okay, and what a great book. It's kind of written, this is the first book Rachel has written. She's actually written 3 books. Okay, this book just helped me so much. It made me put on my running trainers my next day off, just like in the book. But the slight difference with me and Rachel is I actually came from a sporting background where Rachel didn't, and she's a really good runner now. Like I'm talking top runner for her age. I think with the London Marathon, I didn't know this until reading these books. There's like a qualification time, and it's called Good for Your Age, if I remember right. She's that good, so she's good for her age. Excellent runner. But anyways, that's enough about that book. But that's a good example of a book finding me. Okay. She then went on to write this book here, A Midlife Cyclist. Another good book, but this is about a trip in where she went on a cycling holiday. It's like class it as a holiday, like challenge, something that not many people would be able to pull off. But then this is the book that I read recently. I had no idea the book was out. I thought Rachel was... I follow Rachel on her Instagram account as well. Always running and stuff like that. But then I think I must have seen it there or something, her story, and she shares people talking about her books. Literally ordered it straight away, didn't bother reading any reviews. I was like, oh, another book. I had no idea what it was about, because I enjoyed, especially the first one. I did enjoy the second one. But the first one, it was just like a special book. It really helped me. Well, we've been for a 5 or 6 kilometre run this morning. I always, religiously, no matter how tired I am, I will go for a run every single Sunday, and it'll set me up for the rest of the week. Okay? Yeah, but what's different about this book is it's not... It kind of is about Rachel and her running and what's going on in her life, but it's mainly about... It's loads of stories where people... Maybe I should have sent my story in. It's a really good read. Like this Helen, she'll say what's happening with her. And it's some really... People going through a lot of shit. I think it's a lady... these people are from all around the world as well. I think it's a lady in... I think it was Alaska or something. I can't remember where she was from. But her daughter... what's worst thing that can possibly happen? Her daughter was in hospital, basically struggling with some rare illness. That she was dying, basically. So the mother wouldn't leave the hospital. Wouldn't leave. Literally sleeping, living months and months and months in this hospital. And a nurse or doctor said, why don't you put your trainers on and go running? And the running helped this poor mother deal with that, and it's life-changing. That's just one example, but there's loads and loads. There's people suffering bad relationships, with the weight, with the mental health, things like that. Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. And the other cool thing, I took this, it looks stinking now. I took this into work. I was reading it every night before I went to bed, and because it's a different person each time. Now, it's only 10 or 15 pages or so per person. It's a summary of their story kind of thing. On my lunch break, I've actually got a job now where I get lunch breaks. I treat it the same as everyone else. So I'm just reading on my lunch breaks. If I get a 15-minute in the morning, I'll read a couple of pages. On a half hour, I'm there eating my food, fucking engrossed in these books. So yeah, I really recommend that as well. But I would perhaps definitely read this one first, because if you're reading this, Rachel talks about her running, but this is how she got into her running. But yeah, I do recommend all the books that Rachel's written, Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that one as well. Slightly different then. I've got such a wide variety of taste when it comes to my books. This was a beautiful book as well. Godzilla, World of Monsters. I touched on this when I did my game room tour. But it was so good, I want to talk about it again. I think there's 5, I did say 4, I think there's 5 stories in there, okay? It's a good chunky book. Basically, it's 5 different authors, artists, 5 mini stories. The first 2 are amazing, but the first one is it'd make a really good film. I don't think they'll ever be able to make it into a film, but this guy's he's on the run from these gangsters, and he escapes with a couple of bullet holes in him, and he gets washed up onto the island where all the monsters are. So Godzilla's on there, and then he's kind of using Godzilla kind of as a weapon. Like any story, then things don't go according to plan. It's a good story that happens to be set. It's the best way I can explain it. Good story happens to be set in the Godzilla universe, So yeah, they're not massive. That's the first story there. You can read a story per night or something like that, or go fast or as slow as you normally read. But yeah, this is great. I was very fortunate. This was on my watch. Yeah, sorry, take 2. This is on my watch list on Amazon for a good couple of months. Then I always, before going to bed, I check, and it was 50% off. But I noticed it was 50% off. Then the next day or two, I was checking again. It had gone back up to full price. But yeah, it's worth the full price, you know. But because I hadn't read any Godzilla books, I didn't want to read, because it had really good reviews, excellent reviews. I agree with all the reviews, but I thought maybe Godzilla's best left in the movie universe, you know. And the last book I read, I actually ordered. I've got number 8 on my shelf. It came yesterday. High Score Girl. The first couple, if you don't know about these, it's like a throwback to like the I think it's 1996, this one is, with all the Street Fighter and what's going on in the arcades. You can tell the writer is a fan, was a gamer from back in the days. Some of the detail and stuff in these books is really good. So it's really nostalgic for me. I've watched the full series, 1 and 2, season, 1 and 2 on Netflix. The first couple of books are like carbon copy. The Netflix just copy the books to the letter almost, but it's nice to read it. But the later the issues, the volumes go, there's like a good chapter or so that in this book that didn't happen in the Netflix adaptation of it. So yeah, it's not for everyone. I love the fact, because I'm a massive fighting game fan, I'm probably going to do a top 3 Tuesday on best books for fighting game fans, or best manga for or something like that. Maybe I'll do it this Tuesday. Yeah, so I thought I'd share my reading with you guys, what I've read over the month of May or so, as I've picked up some really cool books. Please subscribe. I'm getting used to saying this now. Please subscribe if you like this video. Please subscribe if you didn't like this video. Don't forget to leave a like as well. That helps a lot. Also, much appreciated. As always, love you. Bye.